We're going to start. Hello, thank you again for joining me today. My name is Megan Wright. I'm the Vice President of Publishing and Media for MPP Global Solutions based here in New York. Hopefully most of you know who MPP are. If you don't, MPP are the leading providers of CRM, e-commerce, and identity management, specifically targeted at the media and entertainment industry's unique and specific requirements. So really using our 14 years of experience to develop these solutions to really understanding their business models. Today we're going to talk about the emerging models in paid content. Quick housekeeping tip here. Should you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them as we go along. Just use the hand signal to raise your hand. We will also have a question and answer period where I can go through as many as possible. Also, if there's something that you can't understand or you need me to repeat, it's a great way of getting my attention. Lastly, we'll be conducting a poll, which we will have instructions on how to participate once we get to that section of the webinar. So a quick look at today's agenda. We have a lot to get through, so I'm just going to gloss over this. We're going to look at paid content strategies and MPP's recommendation of a customer-first approach. We're going to look at some of the current and emerging models. Some of these are going to be very familiar to you, such as the subscriptions and paywall models. Others, such as the rewards and loyalty schemes, affiliates, and sponsorships, are a bit new, and we are seeing some innovative models come out of those models there. Success stories, who's leading the way, what are we seeing as the great successes in the industry, as well as, using MPP's breadth of experience working with both media and publishing executives to understand what makes paid content work for you. What are the factors you want to consider? So first we want to talk about paid content. So paid content, digital content monetization, big data, these are all buzzwords we've heard, circulating around the industry. But what does it all mean? Why invest in developing a paid content strategy? It's really all about upselling the positives of your content, really engaging with your customers and keeping a customer-first approach so that you understand what are their drivers to purchase, what is it that is going to retain them on a long-term basis, not just have them purchase day passes, but actually engage them so they become recurring subscribers. This, of course, will create a sustainable base of revenue for you. This will be a recurring revenue base that can help you, launch other products and services. It also creates great value for your advertisers and investors. Having this model, having all this great data about your customers, about your audience, this is a great way to upsell to your advertisers. And here, when we say investors, we really mean partners, so ways that you can promote and cross-sell complementary products to your existing consumer base. Most importantly, it's really about keeping your customer happy, providing them with value-added services, this premium content that's keeping them coming back for more, delivering a user journey that's really seamless and easy for them, not throwing up roadblocks and barriers to entry. And again, keep it highly personalized and highly customized to exactly what they want to see, the type of content they're interested in, and the type of experience they're interested in. So what is a business model? We've talked a lot about this customer-first approach, and it's really important to keep that in the front of your mind when you're developing your business model as well. The quote that I love is this one coming up, is all about innovation. The business model is the focus of innovation and is the decisive source for enterprises to create value for themselves, suppliers, partners, and customers. Again, as you go through this paid content journey, you're creating value for your customers. You're having them interact with you as more than just a content supplier, but as a brand and as someone that really recognizes who they are and what their values are. We're going to go into each of the different emerging and current models that we see in the marketplace today. We're going to list them out for you. So again, the first few we feel very comfortable. Subscriptions and paywall models. They've been around for a while. We understand them. We're very familiar with them. But what are users doing? What are customers doing to create innovative models to keep their users engaged? We'll also look at the multi-device subscriptions, in-app subscriptions, and also the idea of bundling and unbundling. We'll talk about rewards and loyalty models and what to look out for when you start to enter that membership area. Some affiliate and sponsorship models, which is much more about marketing than the actual, traditional paid content models are. And then we'll take a look in the future. This is really based on MPP's thought leadership, our forecasting based on the trends in the industry news that we're constantly keeping up to date on and what we see as the next iteration of paid content strategies. So the first model we're going to talk about are the paywalls. This is really the very beginning of paid content monetization. In the very beginning, we had the hard paywall. So this, back in the early 2000s, Rupert Murdoch put up a paywall around the Times of London. And it was, really created a bit of outrage. But he also saw that it was a very sustainable model and that he was creating a very low barrier to entry. So the hard paywall means that as soon as your user comes to the site, and they click on an article, immediately they're asked to pay and subscribe in order to view additional content. So again, that created a large barrier, but in the UK, he saw that they were willing to pay at a much lower cost. So he created the day pass as well as the monthly subscription. Both were very low fees. It was about $1 or £1 to subscribe. So users saw the value in subscribing to a recurring subscription, and there you have now a much tighter grip on your digital customer because now they're a recurring customer. You have all these different touch points and all these different channels to engage with them. Again, however, publishers felt that might be a bit too hard of an approach, so the softer metering access approach was developed, and this has really become the predominant paywall model we're seeing in the marketplace today. And this is where a user can view perhaps up to 5, up to 10 articles before asking to pay and become a subscribed user. We've seen a lot of great successes all around the world with this model because you're really incentivizing your user. You're engaging with them. You're giving them, a taste of what having an all-access subscription would be. It's also important that you remember to keep your subscription bundles flexible. So again, keeping that customer-centric, customer-first approach when talking to your customers and creating these bundles for them. The freemium model is a bit of a mix of a hard paywall with a free model. So there are still, a lot of websites out there, a lot of news organizations that are giving content away for free. We're not asking you to subscribe. We're not asking you to pay. So what the freemium model did is it took the free-for-all access as well as the hard paywall. So they decided that a section of their content is super premium. In order to view any of that, you have to pay. You have to subscribe. We need to, engage with you in that way. However, a large amount of our content we are happy to have you view for free, and that keeps our traffic numbers up, it keeps our audience numbers up, and enables us other ways to interact with you. So that's where the freemium model came from. A hybrid is really a blend between free and metered and freemium. It's sort of, it breaks your content into 3 different categories. So you have your super premium, you have your premium, and then you have your free-for-all. So the free-for-all is, your national news coverage. It's content that users can get on other sites. So you're going to continue to give that to your customers for free. And then you're going to have certain content that's premium that you're going to meter. So after they hit a certain number of articles viewed for that, that's when they're presented the paywall. And then you're going to have a third tier, which is your super premium, where to access any of that content, you have to become a paid subscriber. So it's really a nice blend. It enables you to reach out to different sectors of your market and target them in different ways. Lastly, you have the micropayments model. This is really becoming more talked about in the industry, and this is where you can monetize much smaller pieces of content, whether it's a pay-per-view video, a live streaming event, or on an article-by-article basis for publishers. You could do this just on your archives. You could do this just for, certain sections of your content. So it's a great way, again, to break down that full depth and breadth content offering you have into smaller pieces and really, monetize those more casual browsers that you have as part of your audience. Once you've decided which model is best for your audience or for your marketplace even, you want to look at developing customized subscription options which really speak to that audience. Again, keeping that customer-centric idea. And centralization here is very important. Once they come to your site and they purchase a content bundle, that you want to make sure that they have access now to your content at any time on any device. That's why this multiple, device or across multiple device subscriptions are really important. You want to really break down those barriers to entry. Also, we're seeing that news, people who access the news are accessing this more and more on the tablet and mobile devices. So you want to be able to speak to them on the devices they're using. And what's going to make your subscription stand out? What have we seen as successful tactics here? Definitely, the bundling idea. Also, these low start offers. Here you have the different, times. You have the monthly subscription, the annual subscription, etc. Here you're segmenting your audience even more, doing a web pack as well as a digital pack, as well as the complete pack. So you're saying, okay, we understand that not everybody that's coming to our site needs to access every piece of content. So we're going to break it down into smaller pieces, and that way we can really speak to more of our audience. So again, the rise in the tablet marketplace, we're seeing growth of 400% year over year in tablet sales. So addressing that segment of your market is incredibly important. And there's two ways in which you can do this with in-app subscriptions. The first is that you can enable the newsstand, so whether it's the iTunes Marketplace, Android, Google Play, etc., you can enable them to retain control over that relationship with your customer, that purchasing relationship. So they purchase the app directly from the newsstand. Once the purchase has gone through, they gain access to content. It's as simple as that. And you're paying a large commission fee to that newsstand app for just the exposure that you're getting for being on there. What MPP suggests is that you provide a free app download in these newsstand stores. So you're still taking advantage of the exposure, but you're not giving up the commission. So in this scenario, you would offer them the free download, then ask them to come to your site in order to subscribe to a digital edition, digital pack subscription. Once they've done that, they can use that login to access content on the app. So you've retained 100% of your revenue and 100% of that relationship with your customer. The second model we see here is the direct app download. So here you don't have the benefit of the exposure of the newsstands. However, you have everything tied directly into your site. So you retain control over the entire UI. You retain control over the relationship with your customer. It's a one-to-one direct download. So the customer comes to your site, they purchase a digital app subscription, and immediately they're directed to download the app and access the content is granted. Now, we've gone through a lot there. Are there any questions as we continue to move on? Okay. So now we're going to talk about bundling and unbundling. Bundling is a concept we're very familiar with. Even most recently, we've seen actual increases in print subscriptions because of the bundling opportunities to bundle your print with your digital. Gets those print numbers up, helps your drive traffic to your digital site. We understand that it's really been very successful, very effective, as the News UK CEO has said in the quote he's provided us. However, what we are seeing now by publishers and media organizations alike is the unbundling of content. So in the media space, it would be considered cord cutting for the cable networks and such. But here, the unbundling, we mean really personalizing the user's subscription. So perhaps I'm most interested in health and lifestyle, and I'm really not bothered by business or finance. So I'm going to purchase a subscription to just those sections of your paper, of your publication that I'm really interested in. This creates great value for your customer because I'm presented with just the content I want to see, and I'm paying just for that content. So I don't feel like I'm paying for more than I would see true value in. Rewards and loyalty schemes. You have to be very careful when you launch a membership model because you want to make sure that it's the right model for you. It works really well for niche publishers such as technology or politics. So this would work well for the National Journal and Pandu, but not necessarily for, say, general interest publications such as the Poughkeepsie Journal or the Roanoke Times. Their audience is too widespread, and there's no common thread to create value for all in the club. So what does it offer, the consumer? What is it that makes me as a consumer want to subscribe, want to become a member? Well, it offers you advanced access, right? It advanced exclusive access even to events that you can only attend if you're a member of, this organization. You can get loyalty cards and, build up credits to purchase additional products or services from the publisher. And you're building a relationship with the publisher, not just with the content. And for the publisher itself, it offers a more engaged audience. It enables you to really understand your audience in a different way. It also takes the stigma and that taboo out of just selling content. So it's no longer a paywall or, you're no longer a content provider. You're a brand that your users really want to interact with. They want to understand you. They want to go to your events. They want to get more access. So it's a great way to build additional revenue streams from these events, from these partnership opportunities, but it's also a great way to keep your audience engaged. And again, that digital, that information on your digital user is really becoming, the new digital currency. So it's a great way to sell that to your advertisers and your marketing professionals. Another new emerging model we're seeing is the idea of affiliate and sponsorship marketing. Again, this is much more marketing driven than the traditional paid content models that we've seen. So first we have complementary products and services. And here, this is exactly what we were talking about before. You're able to, as you know your user, you have all this great information on them. You've been engaging with them. You understand what they want and what they want to see. So as maybe it's a runner's magazine that you're working for. So you can then create partnerships with New Balance or a energy drink company and promote their products on your site. Since your users are already signed up to a subscription, you have all of their payment details. They are now one click away from purchasing these complementary products. So it's a very easy and very straightforward method to cross-sell, upsell, and increase your average revenue per user. Another methodology we've been seeing is this third-party collaborations, and that's what the New Yorker has done. You can see an example on the screen with HSBC. HSBC did a complete ad buyout of both their digital and their print products for the week. So in the print edition, the branding is all HSBC. Everything is, a lot of articles are tied to finance and banking because that's what their customer, that's the customer they're going after. That's their target for HSBC. And it's a great win for the New Yorker because they're getting, large ad dollars for their print publication. They're gaining additional attention, additional exposure. On the website, all the branding on the website is also reminiscent of HSBC as opposed to the New Yorker. So you have the coloring, the text, etc. And again, it's all very much an, a collaborative experience there. And lastly, we have event sponsorship. So with event sponsorship, this is, companies that are doing this are like Forbes, Business Insider, and the Atlantic Media. Specifically Business Insider, this enables them to interact with their users on a completely different level. It's almost a one-to-one direct relationship. They attend the events, they create these events, they sponsor these events. They understand that their users are really interested in business best practices. So that's what all of their events are going to be around. For Forbes, it's going to be about finance and investing. So their users feel like they're invested in their own interests. They're part of the community. They're not just, this corporate entity trying to sell them content. Also, the idea with third-party collaborations of bundling content with another product. So the digital content bundle with the digital music bundle of Spotify. It's a great way to elevate your product as well as Spotify. Spotify is a very well-known brand, so by tying your brand with them, it's a great, complementary marketing scheme there. So So now we're going to look beyond the wall. And again, this is really based on MPP's thought leadership, the research and the trend analysis that we're doing on an ongoing basis, as well as what we're hearing from our clients and what we're seeing as the latest developments in technology. So the first, forward-thinking paywall or paid content model that may be coming along is this idea of a post-paywall. And this combines both post-pay methodologies as well as the traditional metered paywall access. So with a post-pay model, what that is it's a combination of time and value, similar to the iTunes model. So when a user has accessed $5 worth of content, or their account has been, active for 5 days, that's when the payment is taken. In the post-pay model here, it would be something along the lines of, you viewed 5 articles, now we're going to ask you to pay. We didn't ask you to pay up front, we didn't ask you to subscribe, but now we see, we've basically run a tab for you, and now we'd like you to pay. It's a very soft approach, it's an interesting approach, it's an approach to get those that may not be the all-you-can-eat or even a subscription type person. And then you can offer subscription packs, 10 articles at a time, 20 articles at a time, etc., for them to continue accessing the content. Another thought that we had is we've talked about how important customer data is and how you use that data is also very important, is the idea of a data wall, where publishers would happily trade in revenue for customer data so that they can then use that to, again, cross-sell, upsell, and better target their market. So a data wall would be, instead of hitting the paywall where you're asked to subscribe and enter your credit card details, you're going to hit a wall that says, we're happy to provide additional content. However, can you please give us some more socioeconomic information on you? Here you'd be able to ask, education levels, household income, any number of traits that you'd want to know about your audience. And it would be a great way for you to get a much tighter grip on your audience and understand where their evolving needs may be. Lastly, we have this idea of a share wall. Social media is continually growing, and it's all around us, constantly going on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, looking at who posted what, reading articles, etc. So the idea of a share wall would be that you would incentivize your current audience to share and to post on social media. And if they post 5 articles a week, 10 articles a week, whatever the threshold is you set, that they are then somehow rewarded, whether it's a week of premium access, credits towards purchases on the website, however it is, it's some way to keep them engaged. It almost gamifies, publishing and makes it a fun exercise. It also, as a publisher, gives you much more exposure, gives you access to a much wider audience as they're sharing on all these social media, and they're building up your credibility, and they're interacting with you as a brand, again, not just as a content supplier. Okay, so we have a poll question for you today. The question is, what is your biggest challenge in achieving a successful paid content model? And you can see some of our suggested answers here. I'm just going to launch the poll right now. Okay, there you go. So I'll give you a couple minutes to answer the question, and all of the results from this poll will be shared with you following the presentation. Okay, I'm going to close the poll now. Thank you all for participating. As I mentioned, I will share all the results. I also just saw a question did come in. Yes, I would happily send across this presentation for you as well. It will be posted on MPP's home website and on our YouTube channel, so you can access it at any time. Probably be posted tomorrow or Friday at the latest. Okay, so we'll crack on. Okay, so now we're going to look at those who are already seeing successes with their paid content strategies. Who's leading the way here? So we have some examples. First one is this Alex Springer from Germany. Germany has long been the trendsetter for the rest of Europe. They're using a combination of paywalls, print bundling, etc., and they're really seeing some strong revenue results. They're also predicting their audience's willingness to pay to double within the next year to approximately 15% of their audience. This obviously represents an amazing opportunity for them to really target and really build those revenues. The Daily Mail, as I briefly mentioned, also had a great campaign earlier this year where they recognized that their core website was so successful. It's the most widely read digital property in the world. So they didn't want to alienate their core viewers. They had plenty of uniques and they were getting great ad dollars. What they did see was the opportunity in the tablet marketplace to create a premium product. And that's where their Mail Plus app came from. MPP worked very closely with them on this, and at its peak we were seeing over 15,000 new paid registrants a day. So I mean, really great return. It was a great mix of marketing, technology, understanding your audience, a lot of the key key takeaways that we want to get across in the presentation today. So it's been a great success for them. Also, we have the Times of London, as I mentioned. They were one of the first to put up this hard paywall, and they still have one today. They have multiple subscription packs, so you have that day pass. You have those low costs to entry, which is great. It really incentivizes your users to come and interact with you. And then also we have the Telegraph Media, and they have just recently, at the end of last year, reported over 60 million in operating profits. In the U.S., that would be over $100 million, and they attributed most of their operating profits to their metered access paywall, as it's not easily defeated. So they're constantly recouping more and more of those digital dollars, as well as retaining that relationship with their customer, because the customer's not just resetting their cache and cookies, opening up additional browser windows, etc., all the easy ways to get around a metered access paywall. As we talk about these successes that we've seen, it's also important to remember that just because it worked for the New York Times, just because it worked for the Daily Mail, does not mean it's going to work for you. One size does not fit all for paid content strategies. It's really, it's important to think about your market. Are you a national or a local publisher? How large is your audience? How affluent are they? What is the right marketing mix to really target and convert your users to paid subscribers? These are all really important questions to ask yourself and really understand before you enter into the paid content market. So now we're going to take a look at how MPP can help make paid content work for you. So some keys that we see to success is really, as we mentioned, consistent messaging. Clearly define your business goals and objectives and stick to it. Understanding your audience, know where their pain points are. Create these seamless user journeys so that everything is very easy for them. You're not throwing up, roadblocks. Understanding your business. So how much internal resource from both marketing, technology, and operations do you have to support the paid content model? And do you have the right people in place to make these decisions for your market? Device management. Do you want to look at all devices, or do you really want to hone in on just mobile, tablet, and smartphone? What is your strategy there? Also, it's incredibly important to choose a platform which is flexible and easily able to adapt to new models. Paid content strategy, digital content monetization is all moving at a very quick pace. And as we see these emerging markets come onto the, these emerging models rather coming onto the marketplace, it's really important that you have the technology in place to adapt to them, to add features and functionality if and when required. creating a future-proof model so that you can continue to grow and you can continue to evolve as your strategies and as your audience grow and evolve. And lastly, as we did just touch on, don't jump into the latest trends. Just because it's working for somebody, another publisher, even if they're in your market, it doesn't mean it's right for you. One size truly does not fit all. You really want to make sure that as you enter the market, you're entering with the smartest and the best strategy for your audience. Okay, so now we're running a little short on time, but we do have a few minutes for any additional questions you might have. So here's one that's interesting. What's the latest innovative paid content model you've spotted? I mean, again, it's a lot of these sort of hybrid models where you're speaking to different areas of your audience. So you're saying, okay, we understand that we have a large portion of our audience that are never going to convert to an all-access model. So how can we really retarget our messaging and really target these other customers, because we can recoup revenues from them. So I think using a combination of offers and incentives together with a metered access paywall, which is not easily defeated, I think that's becoming more and more important. Because if you launch a model which a user can just easily get around, they're going to, and you're going to lose all of that information about them. You're going to lose the engagement opportunities, you're going to lose revenue, and you're going to lose the customer data. So I think it's really important to use a mix of those. So exactly. Someone else had asked, how do you avoid loopholes such as hidden navigation, people finding solutions to bypass the paywall? So with the hidden navigation, what you can do is you can put up a message that says, we see you're in incognito mode. Please turn off incognito in order to view this website. So that's a very, it's a very easy fix right there. Another way with the metered access platform is to use a combination of server-side and client-side technologies in order to create a tighter meter. So you as the publisher, you as the media executive control the entire, the porosity of your meter really. You control how open it is. And you can set flexible access rules. So you can say, okay, this is news or this is content that they can view elsewhere. Let's keep that free. We're not going to meter that. We're not going to count that towards their page view. But this is really premium, so we're going to count all of this. And you know what? They're a 7-day print subscriber, so we're going to give them 7-day free digital access online, but not 7-day. Whatever, they're a weekend subscriber. That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry. They're a weekend subscriber, so we're going to give them weekend access, but not 7-day access. So there's a lot of different ways you can use, a tighter model to really, incentivize users, keep them enticed, and keep them engaged. This could be, so this is an interesting question. The model you give users something for sharing your content is for sharing free content, or is there a way to share paid content? I mean, it could be both. It's really, just sort of a forward-thinking model that we could see being evolving. And what it would enable you to do, even if it is a piece of premium content, it still drives an audience back to your website and enables you to engage with them again and connect with them. It drives traffic numbers. So whether it's a piece of paid content or free content, you could use it in either implementation.